If your legs are sore from training or you're trying to get past some nagging injury, this is the video for you. I'm gonna go through a quick rehab routine I've been using to recover from some soreness, some nagging injuries I've been experiencing in my legs during some higher intensity training I've been doing. Cheers, y'all. Like I said in the intro, just gonna be going through a quick kind of rehab routine that I've been using myself personally to help get over injuries, but then also to help prepare my legs to take on more of the stress of training to hopefully prevent injuries from coming up in the future. But real quick, before I dive into the routine, if this is your first time on the channel, I hope you'll give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy it. And if you do like it, I hope you'll click that subscribe button as well so you don't miss out on any of the content we have coming out in the future. This video is meant for anyone who has any kind of nagging soreness, some kind of injury or anything like that just won't go away. Hopefully this rehab routine will help. The main idea behind this routine is to strengthen a lot of those stabilizing support muscles that are gonna help protect your legs, protect your muscles. Huge shout out to strengthrunning.com. A lot of the moves were pulled from his IT band routine. I'll link to that down in the description below, but if you're unfamiliar with strength running, highly encourage you to check him out. He puts out a ton of great information, like I said, dedicated to building up some of that strength so that you can continue to run harder at a healthy level and don't necessarily have to worry as much about injury. But that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the routine. A lot of these moves do call for some equipment, but very cheap, can just be purchased on Amazon and not 100% necessary. You can probably find something around the house that will do. One of these, a stretch out strap, if you're not familiar, great piece of equipment, pretty inexpensive on Amazon. And then the next piece, this is the one I would highly recommend. Again, not 100% necessary, but definitely gives you more out of the routine than if you're doing it without them. But these are just resistance bands, again, picked up off Amazon. Very, very cheap. I'll link to the product down below, but it comes with a series of different resistance bands. But I like this kit because it comes with anything from extra light to a heavier band as well, just providing different amounts of resistance. That's the only equipment that I'm using, so let's go ahead and get into the actual routine itself. What I like about this routine is that I've basically just gone and pulled some of my favorite exercises, favorite moves from a few different routines that I've tried and put them together into sort of a circuit that can be done at your own pace, at your own leisure. You don't necessarily have to get ready for a workout to do this. What I usually do is when my wife and I are watching TV at the end of the day, I'll just roll out a mat and slowly work through these moves while we're watching TV. No time limit or anything like that in mind, just casually working through. And how I kick off the routine is using that stretch out strap. I just like to loosen up a little bit before I get right into it. So the first one, both are done just laying on your back on the floor or on a mat. Loop the stretch out strap around the arch of your foot. And then when you're doing the hamstring pull, you just kind of pull your leg up towards you. The key here is to focus on keeping both legs straight. So myself, I am not super flexible at all. So this takes a little bit more work on my part than it may for you, but I really have to focus on keeping my leg that's on the ground flattened out on the ground because it tends to want to lift up a little bit. And then I really have to flex my quad and my glute to keep my knee straight of that leg that I'm extending upwards. Just pull it as tight as you can. And then I try to hold that for about 60 seconds. After that, I'll lower it down, loop the strap around the next foot, repeat on the other side. Once I've done the hamstring stretch, then I'll do one that specifically targets the IT band. The IT band I have found is particularly difficult to stretch, but this is a move that I found is the most effective for me personally. It's similar to the one just before, same idea. You'll pull your leg up, again, focusing on keeping both legs straight. But then once you get to kind of the full stretch in your hamstring, you'll go ahead and if you're stretching your left leg, I take the straps, both ends of the strap in my right hand and pull my leg across my body sort of diagonally. I'll use my left hand sticking straight out to sort of stabilize myself, try to keep my back somewhat flat against the ground, but pull my leg to the right across my body and really stretch that IT band all the way from my hip down to my knee. Again, I'll hold this for about 60 seconds, release, loop the strap around the other foot and repeat on the other side. Those are the two specific stretches that I try to focus on, and then I move into the resistance band work. And these are the moves that I really pulled from that strengthrunning.com routine. You may be familiar with some of these, but the first one is basically just a lateral leg raise. So you're gonna lay on your side, loop the resistance band of your choice around your ankles. Again, if you don't have a resistance band, you can just do this with body weight and still get a pretty solid workout out of it. But all you're gonna do is whatever leg is stacked on top, you're just gonna flex your feet, lift that leg straight up in the air, lower it down, straight up in the air, lower it down. Again, focusing on nice controlled, slow movements, nothing explosive here. This is just focused on building some of those stabilizing muscles, strengthening those stabilizing muscles that are gonna protect your knee and your hips and hopefully support your IT band. I usually try to focus on doing 20 20 to 30 of these on each side, depending on the strength of the resistance band that I'm using. After that, I move into clamshells. This is one that I didn't use a resistance band on for a while. Body weight can definitely do the trick here, especially if your glutes were as weak as mine were when I first started out. But you're gonna stay laying on the ground on your side, bend at the knees, and try to have your knee at a 90-degree angle between your calf and your quad. Once you're in position with your ankles stacked on top of each other, you're basically gonna keep your ankle, your feet stacked on top of one another and focus on just opening up your hips from the knee. So go ahead and practice it without the band first, and then if you feel like you need some resistance, you can always add it in later on. Again, I'll try to do 20 to 30 of these on each side depending on the resistance, and then I'll roll over and do the next side. From there, we move into the last move that I do laying on the floor, and that is hip bridges. Hip bridges are probably one of the best moves I think you can do to build core strength, especially in those glutes and on your back. Again, strengthening those stabilizing muscles to help support your running form. All you're gonna do here is lay on your back, bend at the knees. I like to do these one-legged. If that's too much of a challenge for you, you can always do it with both feet on the ground. And then I'm just gonna thrust my hips upward, hold for a second, slowly lower back down, thrust my hips upward, slowly lower myself down, really focusing on squeezing those glutes as you push up and holding it. It'll give you a great workout. Again, like I said, targeting those glutes, targeting that core to help with some of those stabilizing muscles. Again, with these, I'd say I'm usually doing about 25 on each side. I'll just focus on what feels good. After that, standing up and grabbing the resistance bands again, just doing some side steps. So looping the resistance band around your ankles, and especially the moves with the resistance bands, you wanna focus on being slow and controlled because you're getting the most work out of your muscles in that time as you're extending those legs out or as you're working your way through the move. And the further you extend those bands, obviously the harder the tension gets. For these, depending on how much room I have, I try to do 50 on each side, just working back and forth in the room. So I might do 5 one way, 5 the other, 10 one way, 10 the other, etc. Just work with the room that you have. So those are the core moves that I focus on, but if I'm feeling extra ambitious, I'll try to work in some pistol squats. If you have not done pistol squats, they are incredibly difficult. My legs start shaking as soon as I try to attempt a pistol squat, but I'll usually find something that I can lean onto for support. You can kind of control how much weight you use into the squat by how much you're pushing on whatever you use for support. If that's a chair, a stool, a table nearby, whatever you need. And then you just, like you're doing a squat, slowly lower yourself down, trying to keep that leg that's planted nice and straight, extend backwards, and then stand back up. I'll usually just do about 5 of these on each side. I might do 2 sets of 5, again, if I'm feeling extra ambitious, but this is a particularly difficult move. The amount of balance and focus it takes to execute that properly, you're really targeting some of those larger muscle groups as well. Great for your quads, great for your glutes, but then it requires a lot of stabilizing muscles to help keep your leg locked in, keep yourself straight and balanced as you work through that move. So that's the full routine, and then once I finish, I'll just go back onto my back real quick to do another 60-second hamstring stretch with the stretch out strap, 60 seconds on each side, and then once again flowing into the IT band, doing 60-second stretch for the IT band on each side. It's a pretty quick routine, but I think you'll be very impressed with the results of even just working a few of these moves into your routine. It's done a ton to help me get over injuries in the past, but it's done even more to hopefully help prevent some of those injuries from happening in the future. So I hope you enjoyed this. If there are some moves that I didn't mention that you personally love in your rehab routines, let me know down in the comments below. Or if you have questions about any of the moves, let me know. If you don't already and you enjoyed the video, I hope you'll go ahead and click that subscribe button. If you click the thumbs up, that just lets me know that you like the video and will help others find it as well. And if you want to make sure that you're notified anytime I post a video in the future, just click that bell so you receive those notifications. Cheers.